Hi, and welcome back for another week with me. As always, I am excited to be back with you guys again. I always look forward to meeting with you guys over video because it has been a while since I've seen all of you guys. Hopefully that will change in the near future. So today I thought we would kind of talk about travel. So there's, especially in the summertime, a lot of traveling going on. You also may have heard that even space travel is expanding. There's actually been a lot of private companies that have actually been going out into space. So there's been kind of this whole idea of being able to vacation where you want to, right? That's kind of part of the American dream. Having a good job, having a nice house, being able to vacation and just do everything that it means to be an American, right? So who would have thought that part of traveling has expanded to space? I know that a lot of people and companies would like it so people are able to vacation to space like they are to Jamaica or Texas or wherever. So that's kind of interesting. So for today, since we're talking about travel, I thought we could kind of do maybe a reminisce sort of thing. So what I have is my trusty bag here. And I like to travel Michigan, so it is a Michigan bag. I do quite a lot of traveling, especially up in this area here, the UP. Anyhow, so in my bag, I have a whole lot of items in here that I'm going to pull out, and we can kind of talk about what these items mean and what they kind of remind you of. So obviously, I have no one here to chat with me about what it reminds them of, but I will definitely talk to you about what these things remind me of and make me think of. But I most definitely encourage you guys to, in the comments, share maybe some of your memories of traveling, maybe the most cool place you've ever been, something that you managed to forget all of the time, whatever you want to share that has to do with traveling, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna reach into my handy dandy bag and pull out something. Okay, so for my first item, it's actually a gypsy belt. And how do I know it's a gypsy belt? This was actually mine I got when I went to the Renaissance Festival. But I decided I was going to include this gypsy belt in our talk today because it kind of reminds me of the first people that were really travelers, you know? Well, other than, you know, the people coming to the New World and things like that. But gypsies are one of the people that are really known for traveling, right? They're known not to stay in one place. When I think of it, I think of like the traveling fortune tellers and things like that. So that is kind of why I included this. So another thing that this makes me think of, it brings up memories, of course, of going to the Renaissance Festival. It's kind of like a nice little keepsake and things like that. So I'm going to get my handy dandy bag and see what we can pull out next. Remember, feel free to share maybe some of the best items that remind you of some cool trips and things as I go along. All right, how about these, okay? Sunglasses. So unfortunately, one of the things that I forget most on vacation is my sunglasses. You know, and unfortunately, it's one of the things that if I'm walking on the town or if I'm going on the beach, that I pretty much want to have. Pretty much, when I think of sunglasses, I try to, like I said, take them on a lot of my trips. For whatever reason, whenever I put on some sunglasses, it just makes me feel more free, right? Like I don't have a worry in the world. I'm going to put my shades on and I'm going to take off and go. So other than that, sunglasses really remind me of the summer season in general. I mean, I do wear sunglasses year-round, even in the wintertime, but there's something about sunglasses that just scream summer, right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my bag and see what else, again, that we can find. All right, let's see here. All right, so my next item is a looking glass, magnifying glass, whatever you'd like to call it, right? So when I look at this, I think about playing I Spy, right? I spy with my little eye. I think that is definitely one of the biggest games that when you road trip that you play. It also makes me think of other games like going down the road and counting how many red cars you can see or how many yellow ones you can see, right? It reminds me of kids in the back seat occupying each other because what else is there really to do on a road trip other than ask your mom and dad when you're going to get there, right? So the last thing that this looking glass really reminds me of is when I was young, we used to travel up to Tawas a lot, and there was always a store that we would look for. It was an outdoor store. So we were taught when we saw that outdoor store, that meant we were halfway to the cabin. So the next thing that we would look for is water. Because we always knew when we finally saw water peeking through those trees, it was because we were getting like super close to the cabin. So there's lots of things that this kind of actually makes me just think of vacation and traveling and, you know, just keeping a careful eye out and looking for a lot of these things, right? Okay, so let's go back to our bag and see what else we got in here. So I've got another bag here. So this just kind of reminds me of something tropical, somewhere warm, maybe a cruise or a exotic vacation like that. So I've never actually been out of the country or anywhere really cool or extravagant, but this bag kind of reminds me of my grandma. So when I was little, my grandma actually went to Jamaica, and I remember she brought back lots of flowery and cool things. So another thing that I always think of is this kind of reminds me more of a fanny pack, if you picture it like this and going around your waist, right? For whatever reason, whenever you go a lot of places, like monuments and things and a lot of like tourist attraction places, you tend to see a lot of people with fanny packs. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I actually went on vacation to Florida a few months ago. You may have recalled me doing a couple videos when I was there, but I was actually one of those tourists that carried a fanny pack. But I must tell you, it was pretty convenient. So don't knock it before you try it. So again, don't forget, I'm looking for some comments on some things that you guys definitely enjoy, maybe some memories that these things are stirring up. I would love to hear your guys' stories. So let's see what else I got in my handy dandy Michigan bag. Okay. So this, of course, is a different kind of bag. This is maybe like a shopping bag or something like that. So one of the things that I really like about traveling and stopping in just those kind of small towns are all of the personal little stores, all of those little family-owned stores that, you know, living in the big city or never going anywhere new, that you might not ever be able to experience, you know. Sometimes some of those family-owned stores that are only unique to certain places are the coolest kind of stores. So this little gift bag reminds me of maybe of a boutique or something like that. Or maybe a little bookstore off the beaten path, which I definitely would stop at. Okay, let us see what else is in our bag here. Just a couple things left. Okay. So you might be thinking, why in the world do I have a cord? So this cord actually got me thinking. I was kind of just thinking about all of the ways that travel and vacation has really changed. So nowadays we definitely live in a technological world, right? Everything's about technology. We're always on our phones, we're on our tablets and things like that. So not only that, it is another one of those things other than my sunglasses that for whatever reason, I always seem to forget. So after forgetting my charger a few times, I've kind of remembered that sometimes living in the moment when you're traveling is fun too, right? Sometimes I think we have to remember just putting our phones down and just soaking it all in. It's just as cool as capturing that cool picture on your cell phone, you know, and making sure that you have pictures to show all of your friends and things like that. So this charger not only reminds me of doing those things, taking pictures in those places that you'll probably never go again, but it also reminds me of also just living in the moment sometimes. All right. So this is kind of interesting. So this is a travel guide. So if you look inside, there's different maps to the different areas and everything else like that. So this really reminds me of traveling with my dad, okay? Nowadays, everything is, like I said, a technological age. We have our phones that tell us where to go and everything else, but there's something kind of cool and something kind of special about actually opening up a map. It reminds me of the times of my dad being in the driver's seat and my mom being almost like the co-pilot, right? Typical, you know, oh, we're lost. We should have turned back here. Why don't we pull over and ask for directions? That kind of thing, right? I remember a lot of conversations like that. So fortunately, I can read a map, but unfortunately, I think for a lot of kids and younger people nowadays, that's just something that they don't do. So this also reminds me of when people who like to travel. I've seen some kind of cool things to where people say, I want to travel to the United States, and they make this big map and put it on their wall. So one of the kind of cool things that people are doing right now is they're taking a picture in all of these places that they visit around the country and wherever else, right? So then they cut out their picture and glue it onto that state. So it's kind of like a really awesome, kind of cool keepsake. So that's definitely what this travel atlas reminds me of. It's not quite a map, but I didn't have a map around, so. All right. Last but not least, I have like another little travel guide, but this one is like a brochure. So this kind of reminds me of traveling to those little family-owned restaurants and things. I don't know why, but I remember as a child, it seemed like in the breezeway of all of those family-owned little restaurants on the way that you travel, seems like there's always like a million little brochures of things that you can do in that small town, right? Not only that, for a little while, I decided I was going to take them all and I was going to collect them. Kind of a cool thing to collect, right? So, other than that, it reminds me that sometimes things have to be planned, even though those aren't my favorite kind of vacations. It makes me think of just the best vacations being spur of the moment, which is a lot of times why anytime anymore I get one of these little brochures, it's because we decided to go vacationing somewhere and traveling last minute. And we found a pretty cool area, but we don't exactly know what to do. So those are definitely some things that I think of. So again, I would love if you guys maybe shared a memory of a vacation with me, or maybe what some of these items reminded you of. Maybe it made you think of a funny little story or memory that you can share on here. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And again, until next time, I hope that this gave you a little food for thought and it was a little bit entertaining for you. All right. I hope to see you guys again soon.